Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome everybody to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com, a website for all players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We are bringing on one of my former teammates, one of my favorite teammates from Cornell University, Matt Moulson. Moulson grew up in Mississauga, Ontario, right outside of Toronto. What an unbelievable journey he had that you guys will hear on this. Ups and downs all throughout his youth hockey career. Eventually found his way to Cornell University, and after playing at Cornell, went on to play over 1,000 games of pro hockey, over 650 games in the NHL, 330-goal seasons in the NHL for the New York Islanders. A great leader, a great guy, has kids coming up now through that are playing youth hockey. Also has got daughters playing field hockey. Pretty cool stuff. But Mols, this was an awesome conversation, guys. You guys are going to absolutely love it. Before we do bring on Matt Moulson, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, Jeffrey Jehu Lavecchio. Vex, what's going on today?
Not much, dude. Just waiting for this baby to come out. Pretty much.
You are on the clock.
On the clock. Phone on me at all times. Always ready here. We had another
Kylie
baby.
ready to be done. She got this thing out of me. Yeah.
Yes. Like, she's very active. She's, very into health and wellness and stuff. And she's obviously had to change her workout routine. And we bought her a Pilates reformer and stuff for the basement. So she does like prenatal or whatever it's called, Pilates and stuff. But last week, like the last day, she felt like really good. She walked like 10,000 steps before 10 a.m. The next day, she walked 650 steps. Like for her, that's like what she walks around the house in the morning before she brushes her teeth usually. And she was like, from that on, it's just been like a lot of her chilling and like staying in the house and laying on her side. And so it's gotta be happening sometime soon. I'm guessing here. So on the clock, baby.
Due date is Gretzky 9/9.
Gretzky
September 9th.
9/9. She said she's had a lot of dreams though about September 2nd though, so we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. We shall
manifesting
see.
September 2nd, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Well, dude, this was such an awesome conversation with Mols, man. For all the listeners, he was a captain when I came to Cornell. 2 years, assistant captain his junior year, captain his senior year. Great leader. We talked a lot about like how important it is on a team for your best players to be your hardest workers. Man, this guy worked. He worked and he worked and he worked. And we get into a lot of really cool discussion about that, the importance of it, how to work hard, working hard with other people. And, I think he made everybody better, certainly made me better. Awesome scorer too. Got me quite a few assists. Thank you very much in my college hockey days. We got into some goal scoring conversation. We got into some resilience conversation. We got into some, journey and path and advice. Like, dude, this is one that people are really going to resonate with, isn't it?
100%. Dude, you got a guy who played 650 NHL games, over 1,000 games pro, and had multiple 30-goal seasons. Who more could you possibly want to hear from to learn?
Also, like we're talking about Moles being this goal scorer and stuff, and he also talks about getting cut from AAA and midgets.
And not having an easy path.
And playing 650 games. He's the second guest in probably a month or two that we've had on that at 15, 16 years old got cut. Like Andrew Alberts we had on, he got cut from his high school hockey team in Minnesota at that age. And he played over 500 NHL games. There's so many different paths, man. There's so many different paths to high level hockey. It's crazy. Most paths are the long way.
And what's interesting? Both of them put a ton of credit in their careers to their strength coaches.
Yep.
Both of them.
Yep.
Unsolicited, I may. Unsolicited. They both
Vex
brought
didn't
up.
lead him to the water and let him drink.
Didn't even lead him in. Both of them did say that. So something to think about, y'all.
Well, it is. It's a fun time of year. It's go time. A lot of people are starting their seasons off right now. Towards the end of August, beginning of September. My travel schedule has started. I just spent a couple days out with the Ohio Junior Blue Jackets, a Tier 1 club out there in Columbus. Unbelievable leadership group. Got the chance to work with their players on a bunch of their teams. Got a chance to collaborate and do a bunch of different things with their coaches yesterday. Man, this is just a fun time. And with this youth hockey blueprint that we're doing, I get the chance to go out and work with so many of these different teams. I'm learning a ton. And you know what the biggest thing I'm learning is, Vex, is like, it's so crazy how toxic the youth hockey world can be in so many different places, but there are so many good people in hockey, man. There's so many good people in hockey who are doing things for the right reasons. So many people in youth hockey that are so passionate about the development of the kids that they're coaching or parenting even. And man, it's just like every time I get the chance to go out and work with different teams, different parent groups, different coaching staffs and stuff, it just reinvigorates my love for the game and takes me back almost to like just the soul of the game and how unbelievably great it is, you know? That's something we talked about in Moulson too.
Nothing better. Did you say you were out there with Columbus? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Man, I remember a few years ago when I was coaching and just watching their teams come through tournaments or whatever they're called now, that we'd be at. And I was just always so impressed with them. Just like everything about that organization, everybody I hear from that plays in it or anything has nothing but good things to say. Like they clearly put in the work to deliver the best product, meaning like able to help their players. And
Totally.
Obviously they're bringing somebody like you in, which is, in my opinion, absolutely genius. So hopefully more people follow suit.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, well, it starts at the top. I mean, they have awesome leadership from their hockey directors and people like Nick Petraglia, who we've had on the podcast, who I coach with at Miami, and Eddie Ginger, who's been running that program for a long time. Carrie Bowman's the head of the girls program. Like, they put so much time and so much work into making sure that the families and the kids have an unbelievable experience and they're developing. Like, they're so big, man, on just like, obviously we want to make better hockey players, but making better people too. And, it's got to be really awesome as a family when youth organizations invest into those kinds of things. And I'm not just talking about like bringing someone like me in, but like really putting the time in themselves with their leadership group to make sure that the kids are, number one, taken care of, number two, being challenged and pushed, and number three, you're helping them to set them on a path to achieve their goals and dreams at the end of the day. And so, it was a fantastic couple of days. I'll be traveling a lot here over the next couple of months or so, working with a lot of different organizations. So reach out to me if you're interested in doing something like that. It's something that I have a ton of fun with and really enjoy doing. Vex, I know you speak to a lot of teams too, and yeah, it really helps reinvigorate the love for the game, working with the youth.
100%. And there's a possibility we might be tag teaming a team this year, you and I.
Who?
Yeah.
Where? Huh?
Yeah. Ooh, I hope it happens.
There we go. Fun. The cousin connection. Back in action. Here we go. All right. We've talked enough. I want to get over to this conversation with Moles because this is one of, I feel like we say this a lot, man, but this one is going to be hugely impactful. Hugely impactful, just from his journey and his story and what he went through and everything. Before we do get over to Moles, though, let's thank some people. First, we want to thank our title sponsor, icehockeysystems.com, the best website out there for all of your coaching education needs. They have so many resources, from thousands of drills to whiteboard explanations on systems and structures and habits that you can use to help make yourself a better coach, to make your players better. They also have an unbelievable drill drawing tool where you can go in there, draw up your drills, and host a library, send them out to your players before practice. We have partnered with icehockeysystems.com to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single coach in your organization at a huge discount. These guys are phenomenal, huge part of the fabric of youth hockey with the amount of organizations that they work with as well. So go to icehockeysystems.com today, unbelievable value add, and look up that associations platform.
Want to thank Train Heroic. Train Heroic is the amazing app that allows me to work with so many teams, organizations, and clients. I'm looking at my board across from here right now. This season I'm working with multiple entire organizations from midgets down to I think 8-year-olds, multiple USHL teams. My former team, the Omaha Lancers, are on board this year. Look out. Pretty excited about that, as well as Tri-City Storm, who I've had for a couple years, and they do an unbelievable job. New coach there, Mark Abelon, seems like an absolutely great guy, and Lenny Childs in Omaha. So two great leaders that I'm excited to work with this year, as well as Wendigo, Watertown in the Knoll, and a whole bunch of other junior teams, West Pound Power out of Wisconsin, and some colleges. If you have any want or need for training in season, whether it's little kids at home workouts or actual teams in a gym, please reach out to me. Train Heroic allows me to do all of that stuff very, very easily in the best way possible. So thank you to Train Heroic. Also want to say thank you to Cure Nutrition. Cure Nutrition is a CBD company I'm with. I take CBD twice a day, every single day. I work a very physically demanding job, and I have a very physically demanding lifestyle. What's up? I'm yacked. To keep that way, I have to work on my recovery. CBD is a massive part of that. What a ridiculous guy I am. CBD is a massive part of that, and I've been taking it every day, twice a day since my last year playing the 2017-2018 season. I absolutely love Cure Nutrition. All my CBD I get from them. If you have any questions on how CBD works, what, where, when, why, how, reach out to me. I love helping people use plant medicine over pills whenever possible. Or you can go to curenutrition.com, use my discount code GMBM, and save that money.
Save that money. Also, want to thank new sponsor, Crossbar. This is an unbelievable web solution that can help you streamline all your operations and help your operations of your club so incredibly immensely. And guys, like I was actually out in Columbus this week. As I said, they are using Crossbar. It's been a complete and total game changer to everything they do within their organization. So what does Crossbar do with youth hockey organizations? Well, they have modern website design. They have registration set up in minutes, whether it's for your season or even for things like lessons or drop-ins. It's just really easy for your families to use. There's a club scheduler that's really, really easy where you can get all of your club with their ice times, working with the rinks to do that. That I know is a huge issue for a lot of youth hockey organizations, all right there on your website. There's a 5-star mobile app for communicating from the club at the top all the way down to their families and their coaches, or a club app so your teams can communicate with each other, financial tools and reporting to help with your budgets, volunteer management, facility rink management. Like, guys, this is an absolute game changer. The amount of positive feedback that we've been getting from clubs that have switched over to Crossbar, whether it's just me working with different youth organizations and talking to different people or people who have heard about it on the podcast, just a huge value add to your organization. So go to crossbar.org today and check it out. It's really, really awesome. And lastly, Helios Hockey, unbelievable product. It's a sensor that you put in your shoulder pads. It gives you real-time data, real-time feedback on your play, particularly when it comes to your stride and your stride mechanics, and also how hard you're working on the ice. That gives you a hustle score that the kids absolutely love. Every time you're on the ice and you're going, it clicks on, boom, here we go. And it gives you some data and feedback on that. There's a leaderboard that the kids absolutely love where they compare their scores with their teammates, or they can compare their scores to other kids from around the world that also have Helios. If you go to helioshockey.com and you use the discount code ThinkTank, one word, you will get 20% off their pro annual plans or their pro 24-month subscriptions. Also, the game changer for this syncs right with your video. Syncs right with your video, so you can have your shifts cut up for you if you play a game and you're wearing it right after the game on your iPad, on your phone, if you're getting it from Live Barn, wherever it is. Unbelievable value add. So go to helioshockey.com today. Use that coupon code ThinkTank, one word. And last but not least, thank you to all of our amazing listeners. We absolutely love you guys. Vex, we're closing in, man. Like, we're closing in on 6 years here. It's going to be 6 years in November. It's been one of the biggest honors of my life to do this with you, brother, and provide all these awesome people with all these awesome stories that can help anybody and everybody in the youth hockey world level up a little bit, have a little bit of perspective, be a little bit motivated and inspired as well. And so if you can do us a favor, anytime you can like our stuff on social media, comment on it, anytime you can leave us a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever it is, we're everywhere. If you can hit the follow button and follow us on those apps as well, just goes a long way for legitimizing what we're doing and spreading the word. Positivity in the hockey world. That's our goal. Make a positive impact. And we do that through being able to bring on unbelievable guests and getting to pick their brains and talk about their stories. And this one is phenomenal. Awesome teammate, awesome guy, had an unbelievable career. And so without further ado, here we go with Matt Moulson. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. On our podcast, we always talk about the power of reflection and the power of living life as the best version of ourselves. Well, therapy can help us to reconnect with who we are, what's important to us, and prioritize things that can help us live our best lives. We are huge believers of therapy on this podcast. It really allows us to rethink, reimagine, and reframe much of what is going on in our lives to help us grow into the people that we want to be. And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, convenient, and designed to fit your schedule. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. Bet on the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved. We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast one of my favorite teammates of all time, one of the best leaders I ever had playing at Cornell, Matt Moulson. Moulson, how are we doing today, man?
I'm awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. Pleasure to be on.
Hey, listeners, this guy's taking time out of a freaking vacation with his wife to be on the podcast. Hey, Vex?
How does the wife feel about that? Yeah, how does the wife feel about that, you savage?
Well, hey, hockey paid for the vacation, so it's only right that we have a little time away to talk some more hockey.
From all the stories Toph's told about you on the podcast about your leadership skills and your want to help younger guys and help your teammates and things like that, this doesn't surprise me at all. So we appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Vix.
Yeah, man. So let's bring it way back. You know, you grew up in Mississauga, Ontario, right outside of Toronto. Got a brother that played, a little bit younger. Got a sister that played. Obviously, hockey runs in the family. Like, what got you excited? What got you passionate? And what made you fall in love with the game up in Ontario there?
Well, I think, my dad was a huge hockey fan. Never much of a hockey player. Even though he likes to tell stories about his house league days back in the day in Montreal. But, someone asked me this question the other day, so it's funny you ask, when did you fall in love with the game? And it's funny because I can think of the exact moment where I fell in love with hockey. And I think that was a day coming back from the rink. I was 4 or 5 years old, came back from playing paperweight in Mississauga. Just a little like the might type things where you have a team. Came back from a game Sunday late morning, and there's a bunch of kids on my street playing hockey, and my dad's like, go play with them. They're playing ball hockey. I was like, no, I don't know any of the kids. They look a little older. He's like, just go. I remember going to play. I remember scoring a goal against these older kids, and then I think from then on I played with them every single day and just fell in love with playing hockey wherever it was.
That's awesome, man. Dude, like so many people that we have on here, and we've had plenty of NHLers on here, plenty of high level coaches and things like that. And I feel like everybody talks about falling in love with the game, like not on a structured practice ice. It was in the driveway. It was in the street. It was in the basement. It was on the pond. It was something else. And I was in Columbus yesterday working with a group of coaches, and like we were talking about how you develop, passion for the game. And everybody said, like, you got to have that unstructured time. Like you got to have that time with no coaches just to kind of do your thing. And like now you got kids that are playing and stuff, and they're getting a little bit older. Is that something that you try to do with your kids?
Yeah, I think, even with our team, we practice on like a small rink once a week, and for 20 minutes, let them kind of play 3-on-3, just do whatever, no rules. But I think, as you get into coaching, and maybe sometimes you forget about that unstructured type thing, because you get into wanting to develop these hockey minds and try to help these guys understand the game, but you also realize that they just need to be creative, make mistakes, see what works, see what doesn't, and sometimes you may lose that a little bit, but there are moments where like, okay, I gotta back off here, let these guys do something out of the ordinary, do whatever they want. So I think it is something definitely conscious of.
I love that. So I don't know if you know this, Moulson, but I may have played on one of the best Bantam teams of all time. Like,
there you go.
Pretty cool stuff. National champions, 9-1 in the championship game. What's up?
Suck it, Robbie Shrimp.
But the funny part is, like, so everybody, you talk about practice time and stuff. We practiced every week, 1.5 practices on a small sheet. It was a studio ice, like 3/4 sheet. And we played so many games. It was so competitive. It was so fun. Like, and everybody thinks like you need 3 full ice practices every week, and it has to look really good, and it has to be really structured and all that kind of stuff. When at the end of the day, like when it comes to development, like there's got to be some chaos to it. There's got to be some kids figuring some stuff out. There's got to be some compete. And like our team, like we were coached by a Russian guy, and it was all creativity, man. It was all creativity. It was all make plays. It was all make mistakes all the time. And I look back at those memories, so fun. Not only were we really, really good, but like our passion was what we're talking about. Our passion for the game rose so much because we had so much fun competing against each other in practices on that little small rink that we had.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, just the competing while you're trying to figure it out creatively. So you still got those competitive juices going, but you're also figuring stuff out. And I will say, to your point, the best Bantam team, I think the best year I ever had in my career, in the summertime, don't think I skated on full ice, only on studio ice the entire summer. Just
no kidding.
3-on-3 and doing some skill stuff. But so whoever, I think a lot of people think they have to have certain things, but when you're doing the right things, maybe it doesn't matter as much. You're being creative yourself and figuring stuff out.
I love that. When was that? When you had that year?
2011, I think. 2011.
Gotcha. One of the years with the Islanders?
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. And I want to talk more about like bringing it back a little bit, because you had a pretty unique path. So we played college hockey together, but your path to Cornell wasn't the easiest path, right? Like, I'm hearing stories from Shane talking about, and I think you even said like Cornell was the only school that wanted you, in the process at one point for a lot of your recruiting process. And, junior hockey wasn't exactly the easiest for you too. You had some ups and you had some downs before you even got to Cornell. And we got a lot of kids that listen to the podcast. And one of the things that we really try to talk about with our guests, specifically the ones that have gone on to do some really awesome things in this game, is that it's not easy, and it comes with a lot of heartache. It comes with a lot of adversity. It comes with a lot of having to pick yourself up after you've been knocked down. And so if you can just talk a little bit about that those couple of years before you got to Cornell and how you kind of battled through and persevered through some stuff.
Yeah, I think once you're done your career, you kind of look back and see different spots in your life that you look back at them and you see how hard they were, but during the time it didn't really look. It was just every day was normal. But I think you talk about your Bantam team. I played on the best minor Adam team, North York Canadians back then. We had the best player, Jason Fricaro. And, I think that was kind of my peak for a couple years. And then, I got progressively less and less good, they would say. And by the time I think I got to, minor Bantam, I really wasn't a great player. And I think at that time, my dad's like, all right, you do a lot of work if this is what you want to do for your life. If you want to go to college or junior or whatever, you're going to have to put in a lot of work. And I think that's kind of when it hit me that I was going to have to work a lot harder than everyone else to make sure I could pursue hockey any level. And I ended up getting cut from all the AAA teams. I tried out for junior teams as well that year. Cut from the junior teams, AAA teams. Ended up going down to AA and midget. Was very fortunate. You look back at certain points and you meet these great people that influence your life in a positive direction. And I met a coach by the name of Jimmy McGuire. I still speak to him. I was at a pretty low point. First time not playing AAA in I think my entire life. And as a kid, obviously, you get pretty disappointed about things. And my dad was like, you know what, you're just going to have to work. You got to work. And I was lucky enough to play for Jimmy. Had a great year in hockey. I think that was due to the fact that I think that year my dad was skating me before school. I'd skate with my dad, brother, and sister before school, sometimes no pucks, just for an hour, bag skating before school. I played high school hockey that year, played AA, and then one of the junior teams let me practice with them. So I was on the ice 2-3 times a day for, I don't know, 6-7 days a week. Not saying parents should do that for their kids. This is at like 16. This is at 16 years old. So I was becoming a young man at that point. So I could kind of make my own decisions. But it was something I wanted to do. I think, my dad would be like, all right, you want to skate in the morning? I was like, yep. And I think Friday, Saturday nights I go to hockey school. So I was on the ice all the time, working, just knew I had to work so much harder than everyone because they were a lot better than me. And very fortunate enough to play junior the next year from AA. I don't think that's kind of where I thought I had a great first year with the Guelph Dominators in junior B. Kind of thought I was going to make it from there. So I went out, tried out for Sioux City in the USHL, got cut from there. Went out, tried out for Vernon Vipers in the BCHL. I'm still a little sour about that one because I had a double hat trick in the blue and white game and got cut for not fighting enough. But I had 2 fights too. 2 fights and 6 goals one game. Still
What?
Yeah.
Didn't make the team. Didn't do enough.
Didn't do enough. So then came back, played junior for Guelph again. But on my way home, St. Louis Sting called me from the NAHL. They're like, do you want to play in this tournament with us? And I was like, sure. So my flight home from Vancouver after I got cut, my dad picked me up from the airport, drove me to Lansing, and I played in this showcase tournament with St. Louis Sting. Get out there first game, score 2 goals in the first period, break my skate in the second period. They spend the entire period trying to fix it, went back in the third. And I think we ended up losing 3-2. I came off after the game, and they were kind of like, come on, boys, we got to pick it up next game. We're already 0-2 in the season. I go, this is a season game? And they're like, yeah. I go, I don't think I have a release to play. They're like, no, you're fine. I was like, okay. So I go get dressed for the next game. I remember it was against CompuWare. And the coach comes in and he goes, they just complained. You don't have a release. You can't play. I was like, no kidding. I thought it was exhibition. But I ended up going back home after that, playing junior for Guelph again. But the thing was that game in Lansing, Brent Brecky saw me play the first game, and I started talking to him and ended up going back to play for Guelph and had a great start to the season, and ended up early committing to Cornell, who was the only team that ever talked to me. And I mean, to be honest, didn't even know it was an Ivy League school until someone told me. But I knew Joe Newendike went there and Ken Dryden, and then ended up committing to them. You know, I remember Shafe calling my house. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're interested in having you, join our program." Blah blah blah. I was like, "All right, let me talk it over with my dad." So I called my dad. He was at work. I go, "Oh yeah, this Coach Schaefer from Cornell just called me, asked me if I'm interested." And he goes, "Would you tell him?" I said, "I talk it over with you." He goes, "Call him back right now. Tell him you're going." I go, "I don't even know where the school is." He goes, "Call him back." I go, "Okay." I called Shape back. I'm like, "All right, I'm coming." He's like, "We got to check like your marks and everything." I was like, "Nah, don't worry, I'm good. I did well in school. I'm coming." He's like, "Okay." So I ended up being early, never acceptance to Cornell, and I got to the first time I ever visited the campus, watched them play Yale in the playoffs, and I was like, "All right, I made a good decision. This is a pretty cool place." So ended up working out. It was awesome 4 years there.
Dude. What a roller coaster we just went through right there. Oh my God.
Hey, Vex, how amazing is it?
That one.
Dude, how amazing is it? So Moulson, we had Andrew Alberts on the podcast about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And it's so funny, right? Like there are multiple paths to the NHL. You know, that you get your guys who are going to make it no matter what. You know, they're just that talented and blessed, and that's just what they're going to do. And then like you and Alberts, like Andrew Alberts got cut from his freaking high school hockey team at 15 years old in Minnesota, was playing B hockey in Minnesota, played over 500 games. You're sitting here telling us you played AA hockey in midgets, couldn't make a junior team, couldn't make a AAA team, play over 650 games in the NHL. It's just really cool to hear stories like this, because like it's one thing we try to talk to kids all the time about is like there's not one path to high level hockey. Like everybody has a different path. Most paths are the long way. And then in high level hockey, that could be the NHL, but that can also be college hockey. That could also be junior 100%. Hockey. And that's freaking work.
And when you talk about that, you know, it sounded like it all started for you too, really, when your dad and you had a conversation and you realized, or your dad helped you realize, like, I'm going to need to work harder if I want to keep playing hockey, you know, past a certain age. We have a ton of dads and a ton of coaches that listen to this show. Do you have any pointers from the conversation? Obviously, whatever your dad was saying to you was working for you to, you know, buy in and realize I need to be a harder worker. You have any advice for coaches of kids that are teenagers or dads, and how they can approach that subject with their son or daughter?
Yeah, I think, you know, I've thought about it a lot, especially now coaching. You know, there's this faux pas about like failing. Like okay, that's it. You failed once. I mean, that's just the learning process. Every kid, every person goes through these different, as Toph said, there's long road, and there's, you know, I'm not the only guy in the world to ever do that. You hear Patrice Bergeron has a similar story. He got cut from his junior team, I think at 16, one of the best two-way centers all time.
He's good.
But I think it's just facing those things with honesty. You know, it's okay to be like, okay, you know what, I'm not good enough right now. I need to do more. I need to do this. And too many times we try to put these kids in a box, like, okay, he's not the most skilled right now, he's not going to make it or whatever. And there's, you know, I think my thing I think most important is just their attitude. I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you face things honestly and be like, okay, I need to put in more work, I need to do this isn't working, I need to do something else, then you're able to confront those problems and figure out solutions. Whereas you know, a lot of times, a lot of parents, kids in whatever sport, they're you know, they are faced with this type of failure moment where they get cut or something doesn't go the way they want, and all of a sudden we have these excuses like, oh no, that coach didn't like you, oh, you weren't playing with the right guys, oh. something like that, instead of just being like, okay, maybe it's me, maybe it is me, maybe I need to do something different, maybe I need to be a little grittier, I need to do something. So I think that whole time growing up, it was never, my dad was never like, oh, that guy didn't like you, that's on him, he's a bad coach or something. It was always like, no, you need to do more, you're not doing enough. And I think I faced that once I got old enough as a young adult to face that as myself, like, okay, I didn't get called up to the NHL. You need to do more. You need to do something else. Okay. Then I got called up a few times and not able to play a full year in the NHL. I'd be like, okay, you got to do more. There's something else you got to do. And by facing those things with honesty and not worrying about what other people think, just knowing yourself, I think you're able to come up with solutions for that.
I love that, man. I love that. And you talk about the work. Like, I saw that firsthand in the 2 years that we played together in college. Like, and for me, like, you're one of the most confident players that I played with. And you're also one of the hardest workers that I played with. And those things go really much like hand in hand. You can't get the confidence without putting in the work first. And so I wanted to ask you, like, you talked about, hey, I need to work. Hey, I'm going to put in more time. I'm going to skate more. I'm going to do all these things. Did you feel your confidence growing? Did you feel that you were getting better through the time that you were putting in on the ice, doing the hard work off the ice and stuff? Like, how did your mental game, how did your confidence, how did the way that you see yourself like transition and morph as you started to put in the work after you made that choice?
Well, I love that you said they go hand in hand, because I think there's no way to be confident if you don't know you put in the work. So to be confident, you got to know that you've done everything possible to get yourself ready. And I appreciate you saying that about me in college, but you have to know you've put in that work. You have to know you've done everything. And I think as you learn more when you get older, you're like, okay, maybe I'm missing this. I need to do this. And when you've done that, I think that's where the confidence comes from. And I remember, someone asked me the other day about like, oh, when did you become good? And I'm thinking back to when I played AA, and then after that year played junior. And I remember some of the kids in my school, hockey players, like, oh, you just all of a sudden became good. And I was like, I go, guys, this is like 3 years of me working all the time, every day. Like, this wasn't like an overnight thing. I mean, yeah, I think I was kind of going through puberty at the time, so that helped. But it was like, no, I put in all this work. I know I put in the work, and now I'm playing with that confidence that I knew I could. That's what I knew I could be in my head. I think that also didn't leave my head. I always thought, even in the lowest of times, that I was going to play in the NHL. Maybe a little naive at times, knowing how hard it was and some of the lucky breaks maybe I've had along the way. But that the work is the only way to get the confidence on the ice.
For sure, man. And one of the things that I always kind of took from you when it came to the work stuff, and I don't even know if you'll remember this, but I remember one of my first days on campus, you took me to the football field. It was just the two of us, and you were kind of like, I'm going to show you how to work, kid. Like, let's go. And put me through a really hard workout, but it was really awesome. And I tell this story in my team building all the time because it showed me what the standard was. I always prided myself on being one of the hardest workers. I mean, how small I am. I had to be. And then I get to Cornell, and you take me to the football field and you put me through this workout, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, I'm not a hard worker. I think I am, but there's a whole nother level that I need to get to. And you really kind of took me under your wing and showed me the way. And I always respected that. But the other thing with that was, like, you were always a guy that was like putting in the extra work. You were always working on your skating. You're always working on shooting pucks and things like that. And the one thing I always noticed about this is something that I tried to do, kind of modeling after you, was like, I felt like every time you were putting in the extras, you always took someone with you. You always took
Yeah.
someone with you. It was, if there was somebody that also needed to work on their skating, you took them with you, and you were doing that after practice. And is that something that you continually do? Is that something that you thought about? Because the way that I always thought about it was like, I know how competitive you are too. And I'm like, he's going to bring somebody with, so he has somebody to compete with, which is going to make you better too. Not only are you making me better, but you're making yourself better. And so I always wanted to ask you that, was that something that you thought about? Like, hey, I'm going to do my work, but I also want to do it with somebody, maybe because it's making them better, maybe because it's making me better too. Is that something that was in your mind?
I don't know. That's funny because I think I did that till the day I retired. We still try to do it with someone else. I think it makes it easier to push each other, and also I like to win. So you're trying to make everything better. I think that when I took you to
that's why you picked Toph.
It was an easy win.
No. I want my team to win, so making your teammates better. I think that's why I took Toph to the field, though, because Shape told me I was going to be playing with him. I'm like, this guy better be in good shape. Then he's going to do a lot of the grunt work. He's got to get the puck to get it to me, so he better be good. But no, I think I don't know. That's just I kind of always done that. I always wanted to work with someone. Like it's not that fun to work alone. So and you're both getting better at the same times, and a lot of people have great ideas as well. So you're working with someone, they come up with something as well. So I think it's a great way to, once you see one or two guys and other guys want to join as well, it's a great way to get everyone working on things.
Yeah.
Love that.
We talk about, man, like everything's contagious, energy's contagious, work is contagious, for the good and the bad, like the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And I think the years that we had together, and I know that like the year before I got there was a little bit of a tougher year, and it was a little bit of come to Jesus afterwards. And then when we got there, we had an awesome year. I think we only lost 5 games my freshman year. And like that positive energy and that competitiveness, it was contagious. And I'll never forget my first time on the ice. It was a captain's practice. There was no coaches. It was literally the first day we got there. Just moved the stuff into the dorms. And there was a puck, like we're just shinny scrimmaging, and there was a puck over by the Zamboni doors in the corner, and you got 2 Abbotts going at it with somebody, and then like another guy's coming in, and it was just like this rugby scrum, and it's like a skill skate like scrimmage, and I'm like, oh wow, like this team, like, and that just fed through everybody. I loved it, and in all your years, what was that?
I was going to say that when you realized that there was no such thing as a skill skate at Cornell. That was like the rugby scrum. That was our skill skate right there.
Yeah.
Hey, but Toph, you're talking about this being contagious. I had a call yesterday with one of the junior teams that I'm training online. And afterwards, one of the players wanted to talk about his nutrition. So we're talking on the phone after FaceTime while he's in the locker room still. And he's telling me, like, I was like, hey, like, he's so dialed in nutrition. And so he's telling me about his eating and stuff. And he's like, it's going to be even easier this year. And he's like, it's really cool because our coach is super into nutrition. And he literally, 19-year-old kid says to me word for word about his junior coach. Him being into it is already pushing all of us to like take better care. And he bought the team some supplements, and he's walking around eating healthy in the rink in the first week, and they're noticing it. And it's just like, and he's like, coach last year was great, but this guy, like, he's taken it to another level, which makes us all, we feel like we're going to have to level up. And I talked to the coach later on, and we're talking about workouts, and he's like, yeah, I got to set the example. I got to kick the shit out of all these little guys and let them know I still got it. And it's just like you hearing talking about it being contagious, and like at Cornell, and I've heard about the culture there, and most bringing guys with them, like everything feeds off each other, like Toph is talking about. And one bad guy, 2 bad guys can bring an entire locker room down, but 1 or 2, the right guys, the right mindset, pulling everybody with them, it can completely change an organization or a team or whatever.
100%.
Did you say that a lot in your career? You obviously had the chance to play a lot of years in the NHL, played high level college hockey, all that kind of stuff. Like, was that something, the contagious energy for the good and the bad? Is that something you experienced maybe both ways? And how would you kind of think about that looking back now that you're done?
Yeah, I think, you see a lot of different things makes you better as a leader yourself. I came in there, I had Stephen Bobby and Doug Murray as the captains, and I got to Cornell. Two unbelievable captains for probably different ways of leading. Bobber was, more of the vocal guy, obviously worked incredibly hard, but he was just a great communicator, I would say. And Dougie was more of the, he wasn't going to communicate too much with you, but he would show you on the ice and beat the crap out of you in practice, and great leaders that way. And we had Vest was the captain after that, Kanovs, and then you see great leaders in the NHL. I had Dougie Waite, and I had the privilege to live at his guest house the one year, and just seeing how they lead and the type of culture that they're trying to breed and promote. It really makes you buy in, especially when you respect the person at such a high level. And I know I've had a lot of great leaders. Probably one of the best was Brett Sutter when I was playing for Ontario in the AHL. He was, in my opinion, one of the best leaders I've ever had in my life. And he was younger than me, but he would do anything and lay it on the line for the team. And I think that's the teammates need to know that their leaders are going to lay it on the line for them. And that's when you have a guy that's leading your team, whether it be the coach or the captain or other leaders that are willing to do that, it really makes everyone buy into it and buy into that culture, which I think is a huge part of any sport or business. If you don't have that culture, I mean, you're not going to have a long-term successful anything.
Yeah, totally, man. One thing we talk about a lot is like lessons are caught, not taught. Like what you say doesn't really matter as much as what you do. And the best leaders that I ever had, for sure, they didn't necessarily, they knew when to say stuff, and they talked and they were vocal when was necessary. But you don't get that buy-in if what you're saying doesn't match your actions. And if you are the hardest workers, and I tell this all the time, I do team building with so many different teams. I say, hey man, like if your best players are your hardest workers, you got a chance. If your best players are not your hardest workers, you have no chance to win. Zero chance to win. And I've been very fortunate in my career at all different levels to have our best players be our hardest workers probably 90% of the time. And that's why I feel like I won so much in my career. And I even look at it as a coach too. Some of the teams that I've coached, when the best players weren't the hardest workers or didn't buy in, like that's a recipe for freaking disaster. Absolute disaster. And when they're leading the way, like you're giving yourself a chance. Talent, structure, systems, all that kind of stuff is really important. But if your leaders aren't leading the way by leading the way, not only are you not going to win, but it's not very much fun in the locker room either, I feel like.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I think, on our 11U team, I think our probably hardest workers get it the most from me. Yelled at. Just I tell the other, I go, this kid's work, he's our hardest worker, probably our best player, and he gets yelled at the most by me. So don't take it personal. He's not. And they're in it. So it is. I think it's a huge strength, obviously, when you have your best player is your hardest worker. I mean, look at Sid the Kid and what he's done with that organization. You got a lot of star players are like that, but I think it's no coincidence.
Yeah, big time. Well, I want to transition, Moulson, and not every day you get the chance to talk to guys who scored as many goals as you did. And 330 goal seasons in the NHL. Thank you very much. No big deal. Personally, and we talked about this beforehand, I could probably thank you for quite a bit of my assists that I had in college as well.
You're a smart player.
Dude, hey, actually, you know what? One of the stories I love to tell when I sit around when we get back together with teammates and stuff was the first year that we played together, my freshman year, we had the #1 power play in the country. You probably had like freaking 15 to 20 power play goals, but I'll never forget because Heinze was always bitching at me. Get me the puck. Get me the puck. I'm open in front. And Moulson, you were like, no, get me the puck. Give it to me. Heinze, shut up. I'm sitting there on the bench like, I don't know what to do. But I think you won out on a lot of those. And give it to you. Although I do remember it was like, I think I might have fed Heinze maybe once or twice in front for a goal. And we would come back to the bench and Heinze would be like, see, I told you I'm wide open. I'm like, yeah, but he's got like quadruple the amount of power play goals you do. But anyway.
I specifically remember that, and he scored one. So then he kept asking for you to dish it, and he missed about 6 backdoor tap-ins in a row. And I go, Toph, that's it. Give it to me. I'll Heinzie screen the goalie.
Ended up working out for sure. But you talk about scoring goals, and like it's a mindset over anything, I think. And it's a confidence, it's a will. And it's funny, I don't even know if you would know this or if I've told you this, but I remember one year when I was back coaching at Cornell, taking the forwards, and I showed a highlight tape of your goals from I think it was maybe your senior and your junior year. And it was really interesting because here's Matt Moulson. He's playing in the NHL right now. He's scoring all these goals and stuff. And like so many of your goals were like gritty goals right in front of the net. You had a few snipes. You had a few from the top of the circles because you can really shoot the puck. But a lot of them were, gritty goals, rebound goals, second chance, figuring out how to make a move around the goalie, after a rebound and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, like this guy's scoring 30 goals in the NHL. This is how he scored in college. And so, what was your mindset in terms of goal scoring? What were you thinking about when you were on the ice? What were some things that you were talking about with your teammates and your line mates? Who were some players that you were watching that you wanted to model your game after and stuff like that? I'd just love to have a conversation with you about your mindset regarding putting the puck in the back of the net.
Yeah. So, I think at Cornell was the last time I scored a goal from outside the top of the circle. So for the rest of my career, but, no, I think, I think growing up, I wasn't the fastest. I didn't have the best shot. I remember I would sit in my basement and pick targets. So I had an accurate shot, but I wouldn't say any velocity on it whatsoever. And I just, I think I was told at a young age is get to the net. The puck's got to get to the net. And most goals are always rebound goals. And most goals are usually scored. I forget what the number is. I don't know. There's like 40% of the goals within 5 feet of the net. So, I was always just trying to get to the net, get to where the puck was going to be. Because I loved scoring and I knew I couldn't beat the goalie from the blue line. I wasn't beating him with a booming shot. So I'd try to find little spots near the net. And I think growing up, I played box lacrosse. So I was comfortable in traffic. It never really bothered me. And I think, I forget who spoke to me at a young age though, but they said just what you said. It's the will to score in front of net. It's you and usually a defender, and you want to score more, or they want to keep it out of the net more. So I think I always tried to get to around the net, and I was able to anticipate where pucks were going to be a lot of time and get to those spots. But yeah, I think just get into the front of the net. I said that is pretty. It sounds pretty stupid, but I just get to the net when the puck's getting there. And what's funny is I don't think I ever played net front in my life until I got to the Islanders, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna put you on the power play, but you're gonna play net front. You good with that?" I was like, "Yep, I'll play there." I never played on the power play in front of the net, and then fortunate enough to have some good seasons after that. But for me, it was always finding soft spots. I think when you work well with someone on your line, I work with you, I want the puck, so I'm going to get open for it. I think that's the big thing. There's one thing telling people to get you the puck, and there's another thing getting open for them to get you the puck at the right time, in the right position. I think that's something I was able to do with just, I knew I had to get by with my brain instead of my speed. So that anticipation of just knowing when your line mate can make the pass, when they're able to make the pass, and where you should be. I think there's a lot of soft spots in the defense that you can get to, and they're different a lot of the times. You always talk about the kind of dot area soft spot, but there's a lot of different soft spots that you can get to create opportunities on the net. And sometimes for me that was anticipating a rebound and in the general vicinity of where you think it's going to go, and grabbing pucks and being ready for it. I think that's a big thing. You see a lot of kids they're like, all right, I'm going to the front of the net, and their sticks up by their waist like they're going to score a goal. I mean, hockey happens so quickly that you have to be ready at all times. I think that was every time I was near the net, I was always ready to score. So I don't know. I don't know if that was enough for you. I didn't really have too much of a complicated thing. Get to spots.
It's not that complicated.
When you're talking about like finding those soft spots to like help players listening and coaches listening understand, and also just picking your brain, obviously there's like the dot line soft spot that's like usually there. Did you have other spots that you felt like, oh, like usually this is a good spot, or is it always more like reading, reacting, where's the D-man, where's the layers, things like that? Or is there like a couple other spots where you were like, oh, usually if the puck's there and I'm around here, this is a good spot to be in?
Yeah, I think, one that comes to mind right away is kind of not inside the dot line, closer to the crease. So like maybe in line with the post, real low. When like guys have it low, I think sometimes guys don't think that's a good spot to shoot from because you're below the circle. And I felt like I had a bunch of goals from there, just little kickouts and just throwing them on net because the goalie's not ready for them. So, or getting it there and throwing it on net and then going for the rebound, I thought was a good spot. But I think a lot of it is just reacting to how the defensive players are, I think, as well. Maybe the soft spots or areas in the ice where you can get pucks changes just on how you're anticipating. And also, I mean, how your line mate thinks too. I think when they're, obviously different people think different ways. So just knowing your line mates, when they're going to throw it on net, when they're looking for a pass was a big thing. And then just, are you willing to take abuse in front of the net to score a goal? I think everyone likes to say, yes, I'll go to the front of the net and take a cross check for a goal. But the reality is there's not many guys that want to do that. I think back then, Chris Pronger and Chara cross checking you in the back. I think Chara cross checked me once in front of the net. I ended up in the corner. He was a strong man. But, I think everyone likes to say they will do it, just like hard work. They like to say they would do it. But not many people actually do it and actually take the abuse and enjoy it to get those hard goals. So, thankfully, I was too stupid to not do it. So I always took it and loved it. I loved it when the guys were cross-checking me. I kind of fed off it.
I think those are two massive things. Everybody always wants to score more goals. Everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. And Moulson here said two of like the biggest things. And we hammer home like getting to the net a lot and doing it in practice. If you don't do it in practice, you're not going to be able to like those bounces. Like, when a lefty is shooting from the left side, that it's probably going to go to the right side. So if you're around that area, like you start to learn those things when you pay attention in practice. But working to get open, not just get me the puck. When I was younger, I was lucky. I played with Paul Stasny for years growing up. And I was very lucky because it was Paul's going to get me the puck wherever I go. I had to learn when I wasn't good enough to be on Paul's line anymore in the USHL. Oh, the puck's not going to find me. I have to find the space to get open for the puck. And I think that coaches, if you hammer that home, especially at the younger ages, because you always see the guy twirling the stick in the air. Usually it's me. I'm open. It's like, no, you're not. No one wants to give you the puck there. You have to work to find the lane to make it easy for the puck carrier to get you the puck. And I promise you, players and coaches, when you get that in your player's mind, they will score so many more goals when they stop waiting to get open and they actively get open in the spot where they're going to have a good shot and a better opportunity.
Yeah, 100% Vex. And, I think that's something, even my youth team, we were trying to get more goals. And I was like, you guys got to work harder away from the puck. Like, you think you're working. You're just standing there and waiting for the guy who is actually working with the puck to get it to you. You got to work and like get into different areas. You can't just stand there. And I think they're slowly learning how to work. I mean, obviously it's a process personally. Like, they got to learn how to do it and where to go, where to get open. And I think it's definitely coming along, but it's I wasn't a good worker through the neutral zone with the puck, but in the O zone away from the puck, I could work to get to spots.
Well, with your 11-year-old team, is there anything you're saying in practice, any drills you're doing, anything you're implementing into practice, like for the guy who doesn't have the puck, since you're going through it right now with a young team? Are you making them like jump through the hole when they're not the guy with the puck? Are you saying anything to them that you found is working with them, or no?
Yeah,
they're still doing nothing.
No, they're good. They're doing well. We try to do a lot of pucks where maybe they're battling each other 2-on-2. Guys have no sticks, and maybe the coaches are trying to give it to them. Then we allow the players to do it. I think we play a lot of the teaching we do. I find it great. It's like those mini games where guys are passing stationary passers to a 2-on-2 that's moving in the middle, and they have to get open for their teammate to pass to them and find areas, find different spots. There's all different games like that, which I love. I think that's kind of the best teacher for them right now is okay, I'm not getting the puck. I haven't got the puck one time in this 3-on-3 drill. Like, there's a reason why you're not getting the puck. Like, other two guys on your line are moving and getting open. They're getting the puck. You got to move. So I think that's those little games. I love those little games. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways, and those little games I think are great because there's an actual. You could see if you're moving because you're getting the puck and you're scoring goals and your team's winning. If you're not moving, you're not getting the puck and you're probably losing.
Moulson, we had a Russian coach with that team that I played for back in the day. Best Bantam team ever, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Subjective, but it's okay. And he's a crazy Russian coach right off the boat from Russia, Tarasov disciple. And like the thing that got him heated the most was when we'd be playing those games. If you passed the puck and didn't move, he was going to blow the whistle and you were doing somersaults. And you were in the freaking doghouse. And that's all you heard him say during practice. Move, get open, get open, get open. Yeah. And it taught so much hockey sense, man. Like, our team, we passed the puck so incredibly well. And it wasn't because we were good at the skill of passing. It was because we were good at getting open and making sure we were moving to get the spots. And it wasn't a lot of really coaching, you need to be here or go here when this has happened. It was just pass the puck and then find a way to get open so you can get it back. It's so much a big part of the game. And I think it's so much a big part of teaching hockey sense with the kids coming up.
100%. All right. Well, now I got it. I'm going to implement somersaults. So that's
somersaults. There we go.
Somersaults. But that's a great point. Move the puck, get open. Move the puck, get open. That's I think we learned. I remember when I was 8 or 9, my friend's daddy was our coach, and it was always give and goes. Be prepared to give and go. You give it, go every single time. And I think when you're doing that, you can find a spot for someone else to give it back to you, and you're going to have a chance to score. So, it's a huge part of the game.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, let's go to your pro career now, because you had the chance. You played over 650 games in the NHL, over 1,000 games pro. I think there's another fallacy out there that pro hockey's easy and it's all about skill. And I always say this when I do my team building stuff. The AHL comes out with a graphic every year at the end of the year, and it's the percentage of guys that played in the NHL that year who at some point in their career played in the AHL. And every year it hovers between about 85 and 87%, which is crazy. You think about NHL, you think about the skill, you think about the McDavids and the Matthews and all those guys. But, 90% of the guys almost that played in the NHL got cut at some point in their pro career. And all the attributes that you learned from the trials and tribulations that you had, coming up, I have to imagine are a huge part of the reason why you had such a successful NHL career, because, you get drafted by Pittsburgh. They don't sign you. You sign with LA, and it takes a couple years to sniff the NHL. And then finally you get your opportunity with the Islanders, and the rest is history. And so if you can just talk a little bit about kind of the ups and downs that you experienced trying to fulfill your dream of playing the NHL, all the way from having this unbelievable career in college, and then not getting signed by the team that drafted you, and then having to work your way through the AHL and finally getting your opportunity and doing the best with it.
Yeah, I think getting drafted by Pittsburgh and then having a good college career, I think I'd made it already before I even graduated. So, you sometimes you think the hard work's over with, but it doesn't stop with pro hockey. I think there's no days off when you're trying to become a full-time NHLer. And it's funny you say, I didn't know that stat, the 87% that played in the AHL. I think it's so high because those guys, McKinnon, McDavid, Makar, Matthews, I mean, they're few and far between. Those are the best of the best. I think for most of the guys in the AHL, it's guys that have to earn their way. You have to go through ups and downs. You have to be able to face adversity. I think getting into pro. I remember my first year I played in Manchester. I think I played a lot more games than the guy I was tied with, but tied for the team lead in scoring. And I think I was the only guy in top 15 scoring on our team that didn't get called up that year. And I thought I was going to get my chance. And I never got it. And I was like, all right, I got to put in more work. Ended up getting my chance the next year, played a couple games. That I did all right, then made the team out of camp my third year and got sent down after 7 games. Ended up hurting my knee, was out for most of the year. And, went into that off season as a free agent who played in the AHL after hurting his knee and ended up moving. I talked before, you meet people in your life at the right time. At that point, met my wife, we were dating, so I ended up moving to Greenwich, Connecticut. Started training with Ben Prentice, and he kind of changed my entire nutrition around, changed the training around. I think I put in kind of like back to my younger days, put in a lot of time that summer, every single day, skating, obviously doing workouts, watching video, watching everything, and working with the skating coach, doing everything. Came out that next year, and I had that confidence from all the work I'd put in, had a great training camp. I knew Tavares forever, ended up playing with him in the training camp and getting a bunch of goals. But, I think throughout your career, you're always faced with these ups and downs. And that's why I was fortunate and loved that I faced these kind of setbacks when I was younger, because that was nothing new to me. It was just, okay, some people don't believe in you. I had a mom when I was in minor band. I said I was the worst player in the league to my dad at a team meeting. And my dad came down to the dressing room and he's like, he pulled me out of the room. A couple more swear words than I'm going to say, but he pulled me out of the room like, this woman just said you're the worst player in the league. And I was like, okay, what do you want me to do? He's like, get out. He's like, it was right before a game. He's like, get out there, shut her up. And I was like, all right. I think I wasn't a great player. I went out, scored 2 goals that game. I think it was just always that need to like prove people wrong. And I think even in the NHL and pro, proving people wrong. No one believed in me. I got to the Islanders, had a great first year. No one believed that I'd score again, like that many goals. Ended up doing the next year. And I think it was just, that love of just proving people wrong. I mean, I've seen you do that a lot, Toph. So I know you have kind of the same thing. And it's just that getting that joy out of knowing you've worked so hard and everything's coming together, and just I don't even care to say it to the people. Just knowing in your head that you're proving those people wrong. And
There's nothing better, dude. There's nothing better. Oh man, it's almost like an added incentive to just do your best, is just to stick it to the people that didn't believe in you,
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny it's both sides are important though. Like I think it's healthy to have some people who doubt you, but at the same time, you have to have people that believe in you too.
100%. Yeah.
You can't get anywhere. And obviously your dad had to be a big part of that, but is there anybody else in your career as you were going through the ups and downs, whether it was when you were younger or maybe as you got a little bit older and you were going through the trials and tribulations trying to be an everyday NHL, or was there somebody that really took you under their wing? Was there somebody that really kind of showed you the way, somebody that kind of had that belief in you that was like, okay, and that helped you to gain even some more confidence on top of the work that you put in to help you get to where you were?
Obviously my family was great. My wife was, during my entire pro career, she saw a lot of ups and downs, I think, as the days went on in pro hockey. I hope I don't leave anyone out. I had a bunch of great people. I think Prentice was huge. When I met him, I was kind of at a low point mentally. And he was unbelievable. I talked about my coach, Jimmy McGuire, when I played midget AA. But I think a lot of it too is that self-belief. I think, I always believed in myself, even when things weren't going well. You always have to believe in yourself. And I think that comes from what we talked about, knowing you put in the hard work, knowing you put in the work, done everything that you can. But I had a lot of great people. I think, Wade Arnett at my age, and he was awesome. Dougie Waite was huge that first year I played on the island and lived at his house. I lived in the guest house with him, with Tavares. He was always just helping us out and letting us know it wasn't the end of the world if we didn't score one game. But I've had so much great people. I think I got to, going from Buffalo to even Ontario playing in the AHL, Mike Stothers, I was in a bad spot after Buffalo, and I think he reignited my love for the game. I ended up playing, I think, 4 more years. I was going to retire after that year, and he kind of ignited my love for the game back and played 4 more years after that. So I'm very thankful to him, and probably one of the best coaches I've ever had in my life. Were funny, my last 2 coaches, Mike Stothers and Spencer Carberry and Hershey. He was just unbelievable. I think both of those guys were huge parts of my career, even though it was at the end of it. They were awesome, and very, very thankful to have met them. And my family and I are very grateful for a couple extra years of hockey.
I can imagine so. Well, it's really cool, man, that you're taking all those experiences now, and now you're a freaking author. Guy's writing books now. So want to talk to you about that, because a lot of the stuff that we just talked about here on the podcast, you took a lot of that and made a children's story out of it, which is incredible. So incredibly cool that you did that. And so, wanted to ask you kind of like, what was the motivation to do that? And what's the book about, and how can, people kind of take a lot of what your story to help them in their own lives achieve their own dreams?
Yeah. So one of the parents of the kids my son played with, Coach Greg Bresso, he plays on our team now. He actually comes on the bench. He's our coach of positivity. He's our positive coach. But
that's unreal.
He has become one of my best friends, and I think he used to text me. He'd be on the train going into the city, working a finance job. Text me at 4 a.m. on the train. He'd just trying to pick my brain. He does a lot of reading, a lot of listening to podcasts and learning, and he's just a very intelligent person that wants to learn more. And he would text me at 4 a.m, like picking my brain. I'd be like, Greg, what do you want? He's like, just wondering, what were you thinking when you were like 14 years old? Like, I'm just trying to think like the best way to communicate with these kids. He's always thinking about the youth hockey players or people. And he would text me all these questions. He'd be asking about my life. And this was kind of like a year in the making. And then, one day he's like, you know what, we should write a book. This is a great story that we should share with people. Like, it was ups and downs. You didn't grow up being this unbelievable player and just go through the hockey world easy. You had to earn everything. And we started talking about this grit pile, and it's our slogan for our team, our Mid Fairfield team. We have it on our helmets last year, and we talked about building this grit pile, and getting out and working, and the stories just kind of takes it from my childhood through my life. And we had some unbelievable illustrations by Annika. But we talk about the grit pile and earning it every day and going out. If you have a passion and you want to be great at that, it's hard. It's not easy, but it's fun hard. You gotta love what you're doing. You gotta love working. So that's kind of what the book talks about. And I think it came out great, and Greg did a great job. Annika did a great job of the illustrations, but it was a lot of fun to kind of tell the story of hard work. And things didn't come easy. I think we talked about before, sometimes youth hockey players or any sport or in life, they think like this one failure is just, it's over. It's not over. It's just a learning thing. It's a setback. It's something we can learn from. And I wanted to show people that, it is hard, and there's different roads. There's all different roads to get there. And mine was a windy road, much like a lot of other people's, to get where we want to be.
Love that, man. The illustrations are cool. Vex, he sent me a copy digitally. It's freaking so cool. Like, I can't wait to show my kids it. Like,
I gotta send you a book. I got my book. I got my hardcover books now, so I could send you.
Nice. So when is it out? Like, when is it actually going to be out?
It's out now. It's out now.
Okay.
So it's on gritpilekids with a Z.com. You can get it if you want to look at it there. But yeah, it came out great. I was really happy with everything. And if it could help one kid, one parent, just help them see that it's not the end of the world. It's not an easy road. It's struggle. There's a lot of different hard things that have to go into it. But again, you can't expect to be great at something if you don't put in the work. That's also the thing. So sometimes we expect things to come a little too easy in today's age, and it takes hard work.
Build that grit pile, baby.
Build the grit pile.
Build the grit pile. I love it. Well, Moulson, thanks so much for your time, man. If you have a couple extra minutes, we'd love to do a 10 questions with you, a little rapid fire 10 questions.
Love it.
And this is going to be housed in our hockey think tank community. If we do this every week for everybody that's listening in our hockey think tank community, we do an extra 10 questions. We always have a little fun with the guests, and they can tell a little bit more of their stories. But Moulson, thanks so much for your time, man. This was awesome. Great catching up. And go get Grit Pile Kids with a Z. What is this Z stuff? Are you just hip? Are you hip now? Like, are you like a cool dad kind of thing, or what?
No, I'm not cool at all. That's Greg's idea.
Okay, gotcha. So gritpilekids.com, and it's the name of the book is Matty Moe's Grit Pile. It's unreal. So Moulson, thanks for your time. Let's head on over to the other side with 10 questions. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, Phil. Thanks, Vex. It was awesome.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.